Hello and welcome to On the Rocks, a BRTFC Supporters Club podcast where we discuss all things BRTFC. And I'm your host, Liam Goodley. This broadcast and our media team are proudly sponsored by Mitchell's Travel. Mitchell's Travel, not just travel. Book a tailor-made holiday for you and your family with Mitchell's Travel today. Call them on 01243 939 555 or visit their website at themitchells.notjusttravel.com for the latest offers for all. Be sure to quote Rocks 1883 to help the football club in the same process. As your personal travel experts and our official travel partners, be sure to let their friendly team know your needs from your holiday today. Mitchell's Travel is the proud sponsor of On the Rocks. Today on the show, I'm joined by the club commercial manager and long-time supporter who is also on the Supporters Club committee. Welcome to the one and only David Robinson. Thanks for joining me, Dave. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, Liam. Good evening to you. Yeah, all well, mate.
Yeah, good. And I know you've been to the last two games. Obviously, we've had two games since our last podcast. And we were talking today after the game against Horndean and East Preston away. Obviously, what Rocks ran out winners are 3-0 and 6-0 winners, respectively. What did you think overall about the Horndean game, first of all, Dave?
I thought we were excellent against Horndean. It was interesting. Game of two halves. I mean, first half the game was won. I felt. I thought the boys. We had a few fringe players playing in the first half. They really played well. They were out there to impress, and they just were by far the better team. And I mean, two of the goals we scored would probably be contenders for goals of the season. I thought the Horndean game was excellent. Much harder opposition than what we faced against Selsey or East Preston. East Preston, we got the job done, but conditions weren't conducive to good football. It's a bit of a scrappy performance. But at the end of the day, I'll take scrappy performance every game of the season if it gets 3 points out of it. So, yeah, overall, very pleasing, I think.
Yeah, I think the Horndean game, it was all about those first two goals, and then once that settled the things down, and Ashton scored a great goal, as you say, one of those outside of the foot, I think, curled in top left corner, and you can't get much better than that, and they provided quite a good test for us on the pitch. But I think overall, when you look at the game against East Preston only the other night, it's been a while since we played them in pre-season, but it was an interesting fixture, obviously ending up 6-0 winners there. The pitch, as you say, is a bit different to Horndean, but what was your overall feelings from the 6-0 win?
Well, the pitch wasn't conducive to good football. It was a scrappy game. I think the conditions didn't help the play. We got the job done. 6-0 looks convincing, and it was convincing. I mean, they had one chance in the first half, which the keeper, is it Taylor Seymour? He made an excellent save, but other than that, they really weren't in it. And I think a lot of it was damage limitation at the end there. They were hanging on for dear life. So it was a professional job. We got a win, but we're going to be tested a lot harder in our next two friendlies against Chichester and Gosport, for sure.
Definitely, Dave, on that one. And it was announced shortly after the game at East Preston that Joe Cook had finally been signed. This is a real boost for our upcoming season, wouldn't you say?
Tremendous. The lad oozes class. He's absolutely superb. And I think I speak for every fan when I say well pleased that he's signed. And obviously we were all worried that he wouldn't sign because the longer it went on, you start to wonder if a Football League club's going to come in for him or if a higher level non-league club comes in for him. But now he's signed, put pen to paper. We got him for the season unless somebody of a higher level comes in for him, I believe is the deal. That, hopefully he will be a stalwart for us this season.
Definitely, Dave, and I think he's a key signing for us. Obviously, defensive-wise, he's very good, but also, on occasions, bursting through the middle of the pitch, and like we saw last season against Enfield Town with that great strike, goal of the season, one of the contenders, I thought, from last year, and I'm sure he's going to be a huge boost to Robbie Blake and the team.
Absolutely. His calmness. He's really calm in the defence. He talks to Keaton. They seem to work quite well together. He just gives that little bit of authority to defence, which sadly we were lacking at the start of the season last year. I mean, if you look at the start of the season last year, the defence, we were very unsettled, and it was a hard start to the season. And had the season gone the duration, it might have cost us a playoff place. I mean, I still feel we could have made the playoffs last year, but we did have a bit of a disastrous start to the season, didn't we?
Yeah, let's hope that this season is not as disastrous as last. Obviously, I think it was the first 7 games last year where we just couldn't get off, to a good start, and I think that, as you say, it did hamper our season. But let's talk about those goals at Horndean, Dave. That James Crane opened the scoring, obviously, on 12 minutes before Jake Flanagan made it 2 before half time. Then goals from new boys, Jason Parrish and then Sif Meadows saw us run out comfortable victors there. What one was your favourite goal and why?
I didn't think Jake Flanagan. You're talking about Horndean?
I'm talking about... Oh, yes. I'm talking...
I think you got the wrong goal scorers.
That should have been Ashton Lee, shouldn't it?
It should have been Ashton Lee, Will Stone, and James Crane. Jason Parrish with the scorers.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, there were 3 good goals. Even the first goal, which was probably the worst of the 3 goals, was a really good move. The ball came across to the left. Steve just cushioned it down, and Jason put the ball in. It was a really good team move. I mean, the tragic thing is obviously that Steve's got a terrible injury in that game through nobody's fault. I mean, he's put out, it wasn't a bad physical game. It wasn't a bad tackle anyway. He's running along and his foot just caught in the grass, and he's ruptured his Achilles, which is tragic for the poor lad, because I felt could have been an absolute wonder signing this year. He looked so fast and sharp. His brain was thinking. He did look to have real potential. Yeah,
definitely, Dave. It's a real shame. I think it's an Achilles break, isn't it, or an Achilles problem, which looks like he might be out for some time.
Well, I spoke to Jack the other day, and he said he's going to be out for 3 to 4 months minimum. So, then you've got your rehab after that. So if you say another 6 weeks after that, you'd be lucky to get him back at the end of the season. If depending on when the season ends, of course, we with the fixtures coming out tomorrow, where I'll get a bit of an indication of it. But I'm led to believe that we'll play him Saturday and Tuesday every day of the week up until Christmas to get as many games as possible in. So, and that doesn't include the cup matches. So it's going to be a very hectic schedule, certainly prior to Christmas.
Definitely, Dave. And I'm assuming they're not going to reduce the league in any way. It's just going to be the same league, same amount of fixtures.
It's exactly the same league, I'm led to believe. Liam, I mean, again, in conversations with Jack, I had heard where he was saying that the longer it goes on without starting, the more likely it was that the league would be split into 2 halves, a sort of north and a south, with the top 4 going to a semi-finals and final, the 2 finalists getting promoted and the bottom 2 in each league being relegated. But that seems to have been thrown out the window now, and touch wood, it'll be a full season playing everybody twice, and it'll be back to normal.
And I think all fans are hoping for that. And when you look back at that game against Horndean, Dave, initially, your man of the match for that game?
I really like Alfie Liss. He's starting to look a real quality player. A young lad has come to us from Horndean, and every time I talk to Birmingham, he just can't stop enthusing about the lad. He reckons he's got a huge potential. I really like the look of him. Ashton Lee, I thought, was superb. Ashton seems to have gone up another step this year. It was a really good team performance. And I speak to Birmingham regularly. In fact, I was speaking to him this evening to sort of get a lowdown on what he felt about the Horndean Gosport game. And I spoke to Birmingham on the Saturday after the game, and he said that was the best Bognor performance he's seen against them for 4 years. He said that the team looked really hungry and young and enthusiastic, and they had no fear. And I think that's very noticeable at the moment. They're playing with a lot of enthusiasm and very little fear. And there is huge potential. And if they can realise their potential and play to it this season, I think we're in for a good year.
Definitely, Dave, and I'm hoping that's the case. We also obviously put 6 past East Preston with Bradley Lethbridge on 4 minutes, Ben Mendoza scoring in the 8th minute, and then Alfie Liss and Will Stone both netting 2 goals. Nice to see us notching so many goals, Dave, and also another clean sheet. What was your personal favourite goal of the night?
Oh, that's a hard one. I thought they were all quite scrappy goals, to be honest. They're the sort of goals you like scoring, because you've got to score worldy goals and you've got to score scrappy goals. I can't really say that any of the goals were outstanding last night. The Horndean game, you had 2 contenders for goal of the season. I mean, last night we did the job. the people were in the right place at the right time. But you only got to take an example of that Will Stone's shot that sort of the keeper saved, bounced back up onto his chest and bundled over the line. There was nothing, really outstanding in the game. I didn't feel in the way of worldy goals. They were all good team effort. I thought the team effort was good. And at the end of the day, if you've got a good team effort there and somebody's on the end of the ball and puts it in there, it doesn't matter how it goes in, does it? Let's be honest about it.
Yeah, who would you say was your man of the match for the East Preston game, Dave? Looking at the whole team, obviously it was less numbers there at East Preston, but who stood out for you?
I thought Kieran Rowe was excellent. I thought Kieran Rowe was really excellent. I believe they gave it to Ashton Lee, didn't they?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but I felt Kieran Rowe worked his socks off out on the right flank. I thought he had some great 1-2s with Calvin and Harvey in the second half. He was getting around the back of them, and I thought he again, a new player into the squad. He looks a real threat, and I look forward to. I mean, we had him 3 years ago when Sammy Alab brought him over, and then he's disappeared for the last couple of years up to Haywards Heath. But he's definitely matured as a player and shows real potential.
Definitely, and I heard that he contacted the club himself, and he's keen to play. So that's a bonus. And looking at the pre-season friendly so far, Dave, out of the new players that we have brought in, who do you think definitely deserves a place in the squad for this coming season, or is it too early to say?
Well, I think this season we're going to need a big squad. We're playing 2 games a week. You can pick up injuries really easy, as we saw last night. Tommy got a bad knock on his ankle. Steve got a bad injury against Horndean. Jason Parrish and Jake Flanagan have damaged hamstrings. I don't know how long they're going to be. So, we are going to need a big squad. So if you ask me, out of the players who we've seen, I would sign them all. Yeah. I don't feel. I mean, I know we'll get a few players from Pompey. Jack Halls and Robbie Halls pull a few strings there, and we'll get some boys in for that. But you're going to need and Jack probably won't thank me for saying this because it means paying out money. But we'll probably need a 20, 21, 22-man squad this year because games are going to be coming thick and fast, and unfortunately, you can get the slightest knock going, and you could lose a player for several games, which would be tragic. And if you've got a big squad and they train together, I've been to a couple of the training sessions down at Chichester, and the camaraderie and banter was really, really good. And that's what you need. That'll carry you through games when their backs to the wall. If they pull their socks up and play for each other, it'll really be good. I would sign them all. I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far with the trialists, and obviously we've got our established players who have been with us a little while. Yeah,
definitely, Dave. I've been particularly impressed, as you say, with Alfie Liss and Ethan Robb, who seem to have stepped into Tucky's old role at number 4 in the middle of the park as well. Get a good passer of the ball, threads the ball in nicely for the attackers, and even Jason Parrish. I was really disappointed that he couldn't get back for the game against East Preston because it'd be a shame if he doesn't, because he looked good in those first 2 friendlies. I just hope he gets back to fitness and gets back playing again. But looking ahead to Chichester City on Friday, 4th of September, Dave, how do you feel about that game? We'll go ahead, given that they still have the likes of Darren Kilpatrick, along with a great coaching team there and a young, promising side there, and now in the Ishman League setup. How do you think we'll fare there?
I think it'll be a very hard game. We found that last year when we played in the what they call it, the Sussex Plate or whatever it is, the league winners against the
Community Shield.
That's it, the Community Shield. Yeah, it was a hard game there. We scraped it in the end. We didn't play particularly well. I think it'll be a hard game again. I think it'll be a very hard game. They're a good side. I saw Try a couple of times last year. You can't take anything away from Chichester. Dabber and Miles are doing a great job over there. They're building a good side there. And it's young, it's keen. They want to get one over on us because it's the local neighbours and we're a higher level. And I mean, they're no idiots. So you don't get to the FA Cup first round like they did last year being a bunch of idiots. They're a good side there and they've got some good players. And by looks of their squad, they've got a few trialists there who are out to impress. So no, I think it's going to be a very competitive game.
Definitely, Dave, and I'm looking forward to that one. As everybody knows, Dave, you've been heavily involved with the organisation of the new stand and other upgrades to the ground happening now, and that hopefully should be finished soon. The fans and people around the world donated over £50,000 to help the cause. You must be very proud of how it is all coming together off the pitch with the campaign on all the improvements.
I think let's go to the crowdfunder first. I mean, myself, Ian, Simon Cook, Jack and Carl had several meetings, and we put together the project, and we felt, some of us thought we might have missed the boat with Worthing doing so well in their crowdfunder, you know, and hats off to them. I mean, they were superb, 47,000, whatever it is. And we set a target of 30,000, which we thought was reachable, but we didn't know if we would reach it. We had a meeting there where Jack said asked us all how much we felt we would raise. I think most people thought around the 20,000. I was optimistic and said 25 to 30,000. I believe I was the highest think of that. I'm not sure if I was mad or stupid or what, but I certainly thought we could do it. And it just carried on going. It just went and went and went. We got the 30,000, I think, in 2 weeks, was it? 10 days, something like that. Absolutely amazing. Unbelievable. You know, and it's not just buying the various offers that were on. I mean, it was people just donating, people writing out a cheque for £500 donation. They didn't want anything for it. It was absolutely amazing. The people of Bognor, the fans of Bognor, unbelievable. They all deserve a pat on the back. They excelled. And, you know, nobody could have anticipated the sort of figure we got. And I was talking to Simon last night, and we've only just closed the account. The actual count now stands at people have still been donating after the month's duration.
This has been open, hasn't it?
It had been. We closed it this week. Yeah. Had been, but people have been sending cheques in still sending cheques in, and we're sitting at 53,500 now, give or take a few pennies. It's just, you know, it's just staggering. You know, here we are, a month after the crowdfunder closed, and we're still getting cheques. You know, so I had 2 cheques yesterday for £100 each. Yeah, it's just the fans of Bognor are something else. It's we've always had a hardcore nucleus of fans who get behind the club no matter what our circumstances, when in the event of tragedy and everything else, and event of adversity. And yeah, they're absolutely amazing. They've excelled in this. It's absolutely superb. Can't thank them enough on behalf of the committee that's done a lot of the organising for everything. They have been absolutely magnificent, which has enabled us to do a lot more around the ground than we first originally thought.
So what's the money actually going towards then, Dave? Is it particularly the main stand and the other upgrades that you mentioned, or you mentioned you can do more now? What other things can you now do to help around the ground?
Obviously, overall, it's in the region of £300,000 worth of ground improvements going on in the ground this year. Which is absolutely phenomenal. You think a lot of the clubs are going to the wall or are struggling to make ends meet, and here we are going out spending for the best part of 300. Well, I think it's just under 300,000, but on various ground improvements. You know, which is, I know we get a grant from the Grounds Development Fund, but we've still had to put 30% of that down. So what with Pete Halsby and the executive club, who, I mean, anybody who wants to support the club, get into the executive club, as well as a chance to win money, you know, that just gives so much money into the club. It's a great way of funding the club and help funding the club, I should say, at a cost of a tenner a month, and there's 4 monthly prizes. You can win £1,000 every 6 months. It's it's a fantastic project, and it does bring a lot of money in. You think that, what was it, about 7 years ago, they built that funds paid for the new canteen, the club shop and the new office, the first aid room, and the store, the building by the main entrance. That was paid for out of the executive club. They've now raised another 60,000 to go into this fund, towards this fund. It's unbelievable. Pete Halsby you can't knock the guy at all. He does an amazing job with the executive club. And as I say, over the years, it's raised a lot of money for the club. And if people are prepared to pay a tenner a month, £120 a year, that is a great way of supporting the club. Just contact Peter, because the more people enter it, the more money we raise, and the more prizes we can give as well. Obviously, it's not just a case of going into the club funds. When we had the last surge in numbers, we opened it up from 3 prizes per month to 4 prizes per month. There's nothing to stop us to get more people going into it, make it more prizes or bigger prizes. I don't know how Peter would do it, but there's certainly lots of opportunity there to support the club in money. So it's just backing the club in whatever way they can do. As for ground developments, obviously the umbrella end's going to be replaced. That will be done at some time just after the other groundwork's been completed. We got a new toilet block going over the far side, which will be in the next couple of weeks, so I'm informed. We have new floodlights, which are unbelievably good. We got extra floodlights, and they're even brighter than what we had before. And before we were in the top, I think, 3 for the old lights in the league, so they're going to be even better. We got a new PA system. God, I'm dreading the thought of Richard and Leon. That is going to be absolutely mental. But you'll probably hear that in Brighton because the speakers are huge. It takes 2 people to pick one up. So I mean, they're going to be mounted around the club. New dugouts going in. Yeah. New dugouts are being done. There are other things in the background that may happen or may not happen, but there's other ideas that the club want to do. It's going to be depending on what our finances are like at the end of it, because obviously the one thing Jack doesn't want to do is get everything looking brilliant off the pitch and leave himself with no funds for the players on the pitch, because at the end of the day you could have the best looking ground in the league but the worst team in the league, and you don't want to be in that position where we can't afford to have a player if we need to, and that's where we are really.
Yeah, it sounds all positive, Dave. And I've just been to the ground today, and the new stand really looks impressive, even without the seats in it at the moment. But I believe that's going to be done sort of towards the back end of this week. But yeah, it looks really impressive, and the numbers of seats in there's going to be 367. Is that right?
It's 367 in the stand, and then there's a disabled area for 4 wheelchairs. And they will each have 1 extra seat for the carer to sit on in that area. So basically it's 371 seats. Wow.
So that sounds really good. And it's brilliant view from up there by the looks of it as well. It's a lot higher than the old one. So it's going to be a great view from anywhere in that stand.
Well, I've stood in the stand at various heights, and it's superb, absolutely superb. It's gone up a lot higher. I think it's been raised by about 3 foot. So you're no longer sitting at ground level. You're up looking down on it, and the view from the back of the stands is amazing, absolutely amazing. It's very panoramic all over the pitch. It looks superb. It's going to be good. I mean, and I was talking to Jack yesterday, and ideally we want to, in the next few years, the next project will be where you've got that last little bit of stand down the end, which we couldn't afford to go the full length. If we were to get that last little bit done, he reckons we need about another £40,000 for that, and that would then give us over 500 seats, and it will all be the same right the way along there. Can you imagine that? The whole length of that side would be absolutely amazing.
It'd be brilliant, and I'm sure in time that will happen, Dave, as this one has. When you look at your role as commercial manager, Dave, at the club, what are the greatest challenges you face day to day with the role?
Getting money out of people. As simple as that. Yeah. Getting people. I mean, joking apart, obviously they've been absolutely unbelievable with the crowdfunder and everything else, but it's just trying to think of different ideas to raise funds. We're trying. I'm racking my brain trying to think of where we can get extra money into the club. I did this last year or the season before. I can't remember. No, I think it was the season before, where I did this thing where to get boards around the ground, we probably got more boards than most clubs in our league. I don't think as many have got more than us. people were reluctant to put £400 down for a ball for the first season and £300 down after that per year. So we did a thing where they paid £100 up front to cover the artwork, and then £25 a month. And since we've done that, we've had so many people take it up, which is great. You know, they sign up to a standing order, they put £25 a month away. Companies don't mind paying £25 a month. So, you know, if you go into and ask them for £400 for a board or £750 for a double board or things like this, they start thinking, well, I've got other things, especially in the present financial state of the country or of the world, really. There's not a lot of money flowing around. So, you know, that is an easy way of getting money into the club without asking companies to break the bank to do it. £25 a month is nothing.
Yeah, definitely, Dave. And I urge all sort of local businesses or any in the area to get in touch with yourself with these boards, because you've also got the spaces along then up Nywood Lane as well, haven't you? The wall space as well.
Spaces everywhere down the lane as they come in.
Yeah.
You know, anything that's got a space. Many seasons. About 5 seasons ago, I was talking to the Dulwich Hamlet commercial manager, and I just said to him, you know, they got a lot of boards. So I said, how do you do this? And he said, we basically look at anything is better than nothing. So if companies say they can't afford this, but they can afford that, they would take that because that's empty space. And to get something back for that empty space, costing them nothing, is better than getting nothing coming in through the door. So that's the way my head's working, trying to get it in, get people invested in the club and not getting them to break the bank to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's reasonable prices what we offer, and obviously you organise all the kit sponsorships and all the other sponsorship packages that we have in the programme and various other outlets like on our website, social media. So I know you organise all that. So I know I do urge anybody, individuals or businesses, to get in touch with yourself. And it's great stuff that's happening off the pitch, Dave. And obviously the other thing that you overlook is obviously and organise is the on the rocks. On the road with the Rocks, the coach travel to away games. Now we're a bit uncertain, I think, as to whether, obviously, we're hoping for an away game to begin with, but we're not actually sure, are we, about coach travel for the beginning of this season. What more can you tell us about A&A travel and whether we will likely be continuing with this season?
A&A travel, Nick and Michelle and Martin over there, who own the company, they have been absolutely magnificent. They got behind us 3 seasons ago. We got involved with them, and since then they've been absolutely superb. They've helped us out. They've done decent prices. They've provided good coaches to travel and everything else. And of course, unfortunately, COVID has hit them badly because you're only allowed so many people in a coach. So it's, you know, we're getting regularly 35, 45 people on a coach to away games last year. At the present time, we can't do that because you can only have one person per seat. So to get 30 people to an away game, you've got to get a 62-seater coach or something like that, which would cost an astronomical amount. The one thing that Ian Guppy and myself said, we want to encourage fans to travel. We want to encourage, especially as we got quite a lot of older fans that do travel by coach. They find it very convenient. They don't want to go by train. They don't want to be driving up to London or whatever. They like what we do, and because it's door-to-door travel for them basically. And you know, we've kept Ian and I said we will keep the price down and subsidise it through the supporters club. And thanks to some sterling work last year by Ken Wood and Graham Flower, who donated for raffle prizes for every game. Every game last year, we actually had money in the bank, so that, as a profit. So we would have given a hugely subsidised stroke free coach to the last away game of the season, which was going to be Brighton Sea Regent. Obviously, COVID stopped that, but there's a little bit of money in there. Up until then, the last couple of years before we started doing this, the supporters club was subsidising it to about £1,000 a season, which it sounds a lot of money, but it's providing the facility for the fans, and that's what the supporters club is meant to do. So, we made that decision that we want to. We are probably one of the best. Yeah, I think the stats last year showed we were the best supported away team in the league, or certainly second if we weren't top. I'm pretty sure we were top. So we take on average about 100 to 130, 150 fans to away games most of the time.
Yeah, definitely. So, well supported away. We always have been, haven't we, Dave?
Always have been. You've got a lot of loyal fans that go by car, go by train. You've got the train group that love a day trip on the train and a couple of bevies and things like that. So we always get good support. It doesn't matter. It generally doesn't matter what day of the week it is. We might not get 150 on a Tuesday night, but we'll certainly get 75 people up to an away game on a Tuesday night, which you take it a few years ago. I remember going to Ramsgate on a Tuesday night, cold, wet, grey, miserable night when we were back in Division 1. And I think there was Mark Hughes and his family, myself and my Nathan and a couple of others I had in my car. And that was it. That was the away fans, 8 of us or something, 9 of us. It was quite comical. So that's why now we're really pleased to be getting a coach going to most games. But as I say, at the present time, until they change the regulations regarding coaches, I don't quite know where we are at the moment. We want to be able to provide travel. I've got quotes in for this season for travel, but it is subject to, obviously, COVID regulations.
Yeah, you've got to abide by the rules, obviously, Dave. And I enjoy the coach trips, the banter on the coach and everything else. I think it's a really good atmosphere, and everybody's there for the same reason. We all want to see Bognor get a result on the road, and hopefully, as you say, as the guidelines loosen as the season goes by, I'm sure we'll hear more from coach travel, A&A travel, and yourself about future coach trips. But that's all good. I'm just going to clear up my confusion earlier. Obviously, the Horndean game was Bognor 3-0, and Jason Parrish on the 3rd minute, Ashton Lee on the 23rd minute, and Will Stone on the 29th minute. So apologies to them and for the mix-up. But Dave, many thanks for joining me today. Only 2 more friendlies before the season should start in September. Are you hopeful of a successful season after watching this team so far?
I'm very hopeful, Liam. I think the crowdfunder has given everybody such a high. I mean, I talked to Craney and Harvey, and they just, we saw it the other week when we had 7 or 8 of the players down there helping clean up the ground. They so much appreciate what the fans have done for the club in providing these facilities. And, the playing surface at the moment looks magnificent. Brian's worked wonders on it. We will have the best pitch in the league, without a doubt, excluding plastic ones. I don't call them pitches. They are plastic pitches. Grass facilities, we will have the best pitch in the league this year. We will have some of the best ground facilities in the league this year. The players are really looking forward to it, to playing on it, and they wanted to do something back for the club. So they came down and did that work around the ground, and it's created a buzz amongst the players. A lot of the players, in fact, I think most of the players donated to the crowdfunder as well. They got behind it, so they've got a buzz ready for it. What I've seen with the new faces, the trialists and everything else, they are keen and eager to want to play as well. I just feel and the fans, as we know, the Bognor fans are second to none. They are very, very loyal, and every fan wants to know what's going on, and that they're keen and anything. So I think, the first home game of the season, I can see, provided we can get the numbers through the door, which hopefully will be in the region of about 675 under the present crowd restrictions. But as you said, restrictions are changing every day, so we don't know what that's going to be. But we're hoping 675 through the door. I think the place will be rocking. I really do think the place will be rocking. And I can't wait for the season to start, to be perfectly honest.
Can't wait myself, Dave. And I believe that having, obviously, the Premier League games being on TV, but no fans allowed at the game. So does that mean, obviously, it's going to have a knock-on effect to non-league games in the locality? So that may mean more numbers coming through the door at Norwood Lane, hopefully.
I feel that the non-league games will get better attendances everywhere if the restrictions allow us to. The bottom line, Liam, is we can only go by the guidelines given by the government. And they're talking, the figure that was mentioned, I mean, various figures have been mentioned, but they were talking about 15% of your normal home capacity. Well, our registered capacity, I believe, is 4,400, which would give us 660 or something like that through the gate, if that's the level. But they were also talking of 30% at one time through the gate. So if we allow 30% through the gate, obviously we're looking at 1,300. And I see absolutely no reason, all the time pro game doesn't have fans through the door, why we won't get a knock-on effect into the non-league game of extra fans coming through. And if that happens for the non-league clubs, no matter which club you are, whether it be a county league game involving Pegham, Wick, Littlehampton, something like that, or an Isthmian League game involving ourselves, Worthing, whoever, if you're allowed to have 30% through the gates and you're getting gates, I think most clubs will get their maximum capacity because, as I say, football fans just want to watch live football. They don't want to watch it on telly. They might support the club, but there's no atmosphere. And football's all about the fans and enjoying the atmosphere, having a sing, have a beer before the game, all this sort of thing. You can't do that when there's no fans in the ground.
No, exactly, and it won't be the same. And it was very strange, as I said before in the previous podcast with Lee Roberts, that it was so strange at Chelsea having no fans there, and they could easily have, spread out, around the ground. It wasn't as if there was any issue there. So, yeah, I'm hoping that, as we say, that the regulations will be relaxed and fans can come, in large numbers again. Hopefully, very, very soon.
Absolutely. I think we all hope for that. We hope to get some sort of new normality back. I don't know whether we'll ever how long it's going to take to get back to the old normality, but I think there's got to be some sort of new normality. It's been a tragic pandemic, but you've got to go forward. You can't keep going back, and how we go forward is what the government need to give us the guidelines for now. It's obviously very, very tricky, and there's obviously a lot involved in it. But it seems a bit crazy to me. You can go into a pub and have a drink, and you can go into a restaurant and have a meal, but you can't go into a football ground. That to me is crazy. I don't understand it at all. And let's be honest, even if you allowed 600 into the ground, the size of Bogner's ground, the new grandstands, you can have 2 new grandstands, and you've got the 2 old grandstands. You cannot tell me that 660 in there could not be spread out safely. To me, I think 1,400, whatever it would be at 30%, would be spread out sensibly. So who knows? Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed going forward, though, Dave. And again, big thanks to Rock's commercial manager David Robinson for being my guest today, and we urge anyone wanting to sponsor the club in any way to get in touch with Dave. If you would like to get your say in an upcoming episode of On the Rocks, then please contact me on Twitter at Liam Goodley. Again, visit our media and travel partners Mitchells Travel at themitchells.notjusttravel.com or call 01243 939 555 to find out more about their services today. And don't forget to quote Rocks 1883 whilst getting a great deal. This has been an On the Rocks podcast production brought to you by the BRTFC Supporters Club. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. Up the Rocks.